nonprofit, health and fitness, which couldn't show up, but you can see them tomorrow at the health fair tomorrow. And the domestic violence shelter centers and any kind of volunteerism and financial services. Our speaker here today, our highlighted speaker, is Ms. Peggy Fries, and she's from the Desert Sanctuary Domestic Violence Shelter, and she's going to share with you her journey to where she is today. Ms. Fries.
It belongs to you. Thank you very much. I asked for a portable mic because I like to walk around a lot. I need to say that my education background is in business management, business law. That was obviously looking at me 100 years ago and really not applicable today. In all of my life trying to, it wouldn't matter if I tried to go to work as a greeter at Walmart and end up running it. That's just kind of the things that have happened to me like all my life. But in 1999, I retired. And I said, okay, I'm going to stay at home and I'm going to eat bonbons and I'm going to catch up on soap operas that I've never watched in my life. And something happened with Desert Sanctuary. Anybody know about Desert Sanctuary? Do you know who we are? Ooh, glad to see those hands. Who doesn't know? Okay. Desert Sanctuary has been here since 1982. We're the domestic violence shelter program. And I'm so amazingly proud of our staff and the incredible things that they do. Victims of domestic violence and their children can come to our shelter for up to 6 months. During that time, you're probably going to see them out here at the campus because part of getting them on their feet is getting them able to have employment that's going to support their families. So it may start at your GED center, and it may be at the trade school, and it may be out here on campus, but these are vital services in this community for people's survival. I'm so glad you're here. I know you're getting a lot of information about business. Tell me, you're going to school. You got an idea of what you're going to do. None of my ideas worked out for me too well. Where are you going with your education? Social services. I got this one right here. She's with me. Where are you going with your education? Art? Have you hooked up with Main Street Murals and Jane and others? I'll get you numbers, okay? Good place to hook up. Where are you going with your education? Administration of Justice. We need you guys. Domestic violence needs you guys really badly. California has the best laws on the books of all 52 states. Did you know that regarding domestic violence? But with prison realignment, it's so impossible to enforce those laws. So we're needing criminal justice. Everybody else is in criminal justice, right? What you doing with your education? Cosmetology. Oh, that's a big part of what we do with our ladies that come into the shelter, because you know what? They've lost their self-esteem. Let me tell you why I say that. Anybody have children, brothers, sisters? You ever known a 2-year-old who wasn't the epitome of excellent? Excellent self-esteem. We're all born with self-esteem, but there's somewhere in our journey to adulthood where we lose it. Somebody steals it from us. So we're going to help them find their self-esteem. People donate stuff to us all the time. Clothing, household goods, really great. If you think that this sweater, this particular sweater isn't missing a button, it doesn't have any, But if you think this sweater that's missing a button is appropriate to donate for victims of domestic violence, or the one that has this little stain here or rip over here because they have nothing and this is better than nothing, it is not better than nothing. We need, first of all, to build up their self-esteem. And you don't do that by putting them in clothing that can't possibly do it. I was asked to talk about nonprofits. It's really hard for me not to talk about Desert Sanctuary. I, for years and years, all over this country, ran bowling centers. And that's actually what brought me to Barstow. I don't think I'm responsible at all for the one that's there today, the Borrego. I'm glad they're there. FQACs are important. But that's where I came here in 1976. So from 76 to 99, I ran that. And then I retired. You know what? Retirement didn't work out too well for me. I'm not Doris Domestic, really not. And I found myself moving my stove twice a week to clean under it. July 11th, I'll be the executive director of Desert Sanctuary for 20 years. And my stove has moved exactly twice, both times to change the flooring in my kitchen, and that's to me, it's the way it should be. My passion is chaos. I love it. I love to find something that's really broken and work to fix it. Sometimes that's really difficult in business. Really, really difficult if government's involved in the business. That's kind of a challenge. But I have two kids. Peekaboo was the 7th center I took over that was either in bankruptcy or headed there, and put it back on its feet. I had two kids, and they needed the stability of staying in one place. So we stayed here, and I am so glad that we did. Nothing that I did in my whole life prepared me for the term nonprofit. If you work in the for-profit field, does that not mean failure? That's definitely the way I thought about it. Must mean failure. Nonprofit does not mean failure. What it means is that you get to do things that you can't do under a lot of the rules and restrictions that exist in for-profit businesses or in government service. You get to actually help someone without first reading the county's manual or running it by county council. I think it's one of the most rewarding ways to do things. Nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't get a living wage. It doesn't mean that you can't have money in the bank. It doesn't mean any of those things. Nonprofit means we're property tax exempt and we're eligible for government funding. The rest of it is what we make of it. I understand nonprofit now, and I understand the amazing world and the courage to make it all work. Nonprofit's an area, even with cosmetology, working with veterans, working with seniors, and working with people in the hospital to help to improve their self-esteem is really, really important. Working with criminal justice and criminal justice reform, what a great place to go. I am very happy to work for a nonprofit. It is so much less restrictive than anything I've ever done. Do I have to answer to the government for every nickel they gave me? You bet I do. And I love answering for it. I love answering for it. That is really, really important to me. We've done amazing things at our shelter. We've done amazing things at our outreach. I do have a table out there that gives all of the materials about the groups and classes that are available through our agency. Anyone in here needs to talk to me about domestic violence, about some ideas that you have. I don't always use new ideas, Right now, we're getting ready, we're just about completed with the construction of a greenhouse. Anybody out here and taking any classes in horticulture, understanding what we're gonna do in this greenhouse, to me, dirt is therapeutic. I hate the rocks going in everywhere. I need to pull weeds. I need to get dirt underneath my fingernails, or it's not a good day for me. So as we get ready to do this, you guys have ideas, run them by me. Tell me what they are. We are going to make this a big success. We certainly are. Non-profit management, non-profit business doesn't mean you can't make a profit. It generally means that you're going to provide a social service. But somehow you are going to help a person, a family, and therefore your community to get just a little better. Or maybe you'll get really lucky like we have and make them a whole lot better with partnerships with Barstow College, with Barstow Police Department, with the agencies and entities that we work with every day. There are 7 shelters in San Bernardino County, and we have the greatest success rate. The bar is set by, if it would be okay with you, if your mother was in our shelter, if it would be okay with you, if your brother was in our shelter, if it would be okay with you, if your aunt or your cousins or your best friend or next door neighbor was there, we're doing things right. If it wouldn't be okay, we need you to tell us why it's not okay. That's the bar for us. Nonprofit world is an incredible world. There are so many nonprofits, and there are so many more needed. Barstow absolutely hurts for social services. We haven't got the social services that we need here. What nonprofit means is next door to government. What it would take the government $10 to do, it takes us 2. And that's the truth. Not so bogged down or mired down in policies, procedures, and county council. I want to answer any questions that you might have. I hope I've talked about nonprofit where I'm telling you it's the most exciting thing I've ever done. And I ask myself a lot, why didn't you do this first? What took you so long to do this? And the truth was I wasn't ready. I really wasn't ready. And I'm ready now. And I'm loving what I'm doing. Do you guys have questions?
So please, if you have a question, just raise your hands. I'll bring the speaker to you so everybody else can
Just
hear.
the guy right here.
So what kind of nonprofit organizations are out there other than domestic violence?
Wow. There's some mental health nonprofits out here. They're nonprofits that do foster care, that train foster families, recruit and train foster families, and then follow the children through a foster care process. Churches are nonprofits. It's a nonprofit that runs our transitional housing. Homeless services are all nonprofits. Feeding programs. We truly are in need in this community of more counseling services, especially for children. With domestic violence, children are the silent victims. If you can understand the concept of a little poem about children learn what they live, then you can understand that children in domestic violence have really been traumatized. There are very few options for that. Someone else know of another nonprofit in town that's providing a service I didn't mention? Elena, you know everybody. Who does a nonprofit here?
Well, there are nonprofits in many fields. For example, those dealing with animals. So the I'm sorry.
Humane Society?
Humane Society, hospice, those caring for the elderly as well. And then we have education opportunities. So for example, all of the after-school programs can be part of a nonprofit. Anything that is related in helping others or improving the life of quality for others can be, you can submit an application to request a nonprofit status. And like Ms. Freeze was sharing earlier, it is a business. You need to have entrepreneur skills. There's just a different way of reporting information to the IRS.
You don't talk to the IRS.
Okay, I think that answers the question, I hope.
When you say nonprofit, does that kind of mean limited resources? Because when I hear nonprofit, that means it's not really expanded to helping as many. Is that what that means? Or, you get what I'm saying? Like, it only helps a limited amount of, it's a limited of resources. Is that kind of what nonprofit means or no?
In a lot of ways, that's the way it is. So let me tell you, in 1999, when I took over Desert Sanctuary, we were running a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day shelter, meaning we had to pay staff to be there for 24 hours a day. And pay the rent and the lights and the food and the whole thing. And they were operating on a $93,000 a year budget. So there were very few services that you could get through our agency. We opened our downtown outreach office where we can provide services to everyone who walks in there. We maintain our shelter, and right now we have a budget of about $1.3 million. You have to have something going that you can sell for grants from the government, from foundations, from corporations. And you have to have a vision, but it is possible to have the resources you need.
So let's give Ms. Fries a hand clap. We're actually going to bring the whole panel up so that the questions that are going to be addressed is going to be addressed to the whole panel. So if you would like to take a seat in there. And then so we're going to call Paul Wilkie from State Farm. He's also one of our board members. Just give him a hand clap. From Megan Credit Fix, Don Bracken. And then we have Cerise, that's the other way. Beautiful name, Jennings. She's from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And so there's a lot of great questions, and I just want to make sure. And then we have also Perry. Perry, would you like to come as well? And so a lot of great questions. So I want to make sure that the questions that are being addressed at the panel would like to address those questions as well. So, and there was a hand right here. Did you?
As far as like the nonprofits and stuff go, I was just kind of wondering, like, okay, so you apply to be a nonprofit, and then as far as getting like government grants and stuff, like you have to like apply for that as well. How does that process kind of work? Just out of curiosity.
That process of writing for grants, I'm not a salesperson. I can't sell you something I wouldn't buy, and that's the truth. So I had a real problem with that at first because our agency, I wouldn't buy it. We had to make it into something we could sell because that's what writing a grant is. And I've written the majority, most of everything that we have in place now. We have something to sell, and it's easy to sell it because the success rate, but it is, you apply for a nonprofit, and most generally, you're going to wait 1 to 2 years before you can write for a grant because they want to see that you're solid and that you're sustainable.
Okay, so you run a shelter, right? Okay, I wanted to ask you, we're Cosmo, the Cosmo program, and we get a few vouchers for haircuts. Do you think that we can give you those vouchers and then you can give it to the people that you have in the shelter, or how that works? Because we can give free haircuts.
That's amazing, and I love the vouchers, and you don't know it, but we bring the majority of our clients to you, and we pay for them. There's an amazing program, and you can YouTube it. It's called Cut It Out, and that is about cosmetologists and domestic violence. Because domestic violence victims quite often have wounds, bumps, bruises on their heads. And you have an opportunity, if you know about domestic violence, to start a dialogue that may help that victim to really get help. So it's called Cut It Out. It's about cosmetology and domestic violence. Look it up, it'd be well worth your time. Yes, we'll take the vouchers. Thank you.
I'm interested in starting a nonprofit organization, but as far as filling out the paperwork, I hear that it's not so easy. Are there programs or businesses out there that can help me get started with filling out that paperwork? That it's not gonna cost me thousands of dollars to get this paperwork filled out.
You guys know about this?
So, I just want to let the people here know that not all of us up here are in a nonprofit. So I was invited here because I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm an entrepreneur and I make enough money so that I can help out the nonprofits. But I'm not going to be able to answer any of these questions about how a nonprofit runs and everything, because I'm not one of them. And I'm not sure how many of us actually are in the nonprofit field.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And I'm not the expert on it because we have a nonprofit that we fund ourselves and small business funds. And when we started our nonprofit, we did it through LegalZoom. And they have all kinds of wonderful services that a nonprofit could take advantage of that are cost effective in ways you wouldn't believe. They have wonderful programs. And then there's a lot of other agencies that help throughout the United States that will help nonprofits get started. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over.
There's an organization in Apple Valley called Academy Go. It's Academy for Grassroots Organizations. Debbie Cannon and Vicki Nagel. And they are amazing at helping you, not just to get your nonprofit underway, but to show you avenues for funding. So that's a good place to start.
And before we go to the next question, I just want to let each individual on the panel just say their name again and what they do.
My name is Cerise, and I'm a successful real estate agent. And last year I had to pay an income tax, probably more money than the average person made in the entire year. And it's not really an easy job like some people think, oh, I'm going to become a real estate agent, that'll be easy. You have to work. You do have to work, but you can make a ton of money.
My name is Dawn Bracken, or I go by Dawn Mega, and I am in network marketing. And the product and services that I provide is credit restoration and financial services to help people get on track, because everything we do around this world evolves around credit. So that's what I'm in.
And my name is Perry Pack, and I also have two nonprofits that my wife and I and family have started. One is Aiden Ray Foundation, and we support women and babies and their families all over the world that have pregnancy illnesses. And then also we started recently Communities Uniting. And what that is we'll be helping the homeless and partnering with other organizations that are in the counties throughout the United States so that we can get services actually to the homeless and also create a community where they can stay and be very well respected between each other and because of the community itself. And also because of that and our big dreams as far as our abilities with Communities Uniting and the Aid Ray Foundation, we started a for-profit to also help aid those two nonprofits.
And my name is Paul Wilkie. I was born here in Barstow. So just because you're here in Barstow doesn't mean that things are that rough for you. Born here in Barstow, raised here in Barstow. In 1970, the population here in Barstow was 300 less than what it is now. So 48 years later, Barstow has stayed the same. So just because Barstow has stayed the same doesn't mean that we have to stay the same as well. So a few things for you. I'm also a trustee here at Barstow Community College. That's an elected position. So we oversee everything pretty much that happens and goes on here at Barstow Community College and allow the college president to put this ship sailing in a positive direction. And she's done a fantastic job with that. But I have a question for all of you that's out here today, even this gentleman back here that's drinking sweet tea. They're on my heart. I love sweet tea, so I'm there. So my question here for you guys is, can any of you guys tell me what the number one, with State Farm Insurance, so investments, financial services, the number one single investment that you guys can put money on to get the single highest return from? Anybody know what that is? Lady in the back.
Education?
Education, that's a good guess.
Your house?
Your house, that's a good guess. Life insurance, very good.
Roth IRA?
Roth IRA. Ms. Rivera.
Yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. All of the answers are very good answers, correct answers in what you're going to experience in life. But what you are also going to experience in life is you are the single most positive financial influencer in your own life that you're going to be. Everybody, you may have heard, if you find what you love to do, go out and do it, okay? And then you'll never work a day in your life. You've heard that expression. That's not always the case with everybody. So what you have to do is switch your mindset. You may not find that one job that you love to do that you won't have to work a day in your life. Switch your mindset. Work a day in your life so that you can afford to go do the thing that you love to do, right? On your free time. So it's all about mindset. It's all about perception, and don't let maybe your past dictate what's going to hold you back from your future. Okay.
Wow. No, I'm doing what I really love to do every day, Paul, I really am. And I don't work a day, and I need to tell you that I'm pretty good at playing pre-sale, because I do a lot of that. And the reason I have time to do that is because I know how to surround myself with really good people. And that is a skill that will last you a lifetime. My staff works so hard every day doing things that I can envision could not do. He is right. Invest in yourself. Use your strengths. Your strengths. Not somebody told you what strengths you have. Your strengths. And you won't work a day in your life. You really won't. You'll just love what you're doing, like me. And I like pre-sale, so it works good.
I think there's a question back there.
Okay, for instance, we're here in school right now, but at some point of our lives, we want to get out of here and become somebody very successful, at least for, that's what I want to do. What would be the number one thing that you would advise me to do to open a business and start something new? Is there any money from the government that can help people to start, or should I go and get a loan in the bank? What would be the number one thing that you guys would advise me to do once I get out of college?
Well, of course, I'm gonna say you need to have your personal credit together. Because if you're gonna apply for any type of business loans or business credit, it is attached. A lot of people say it's not, but it is attached to your personal credit at first. So you wanna make sure that you keep your credit together. Don't buy stuff that you don't need. Don't go out and open a whole bunch of credit cards because you can get approved for it. You'll find yourself in a bunch of debt. So you need to make out a plan to budget your finances, set your goals of what you want to do to open that business, do your research on how much it's going to cost you, how much you need to save, and stuff like that. So that's what, like I say, everything that we do revolves around credit. To open a business, to turn on utilities, a cell phone, to purchase a home. Nowadays, you even need good credit for certain jobs. If you're not credit worthy, you can't get jobs that might have security clearances. They want to know, and if you are in a job, sometimes when you're up for a promotion, they look at your credit to see what type of person you are. If you manage your money right, if you're a trustworthy, credit-worthy person. So like I said, everything revolves around credit. If you want to get started, start your own business or anything in life, make sure that you have it. A lot of people say that cash is king, but credit is power. It will take you a lot further than cash will.
Everything she said is true. In addition to that, if you get a business plan, you don't want that business plan to be 40 pages long or anything like that. You want it very succinct, down to a one-page business model, so that the banks can easily tell that you're in business to actually create something that can give you the sustainability that they're looking for, so that they will lend the money to you. Also, get with organizations and different companies and resources out there that will help you hone your skill and then also make it viable in the marketplace. And I have to say, one of those companies would be our company, BuyRight.Directory.
All right, so back to the credit thing. Get it. Go out there and get yourself some credit right now. Start it. Because if you just sit around thinking, oh, I've got good credit. No, you don't. You have no credit. Go out there and buy something on time, even if it's a table. Buy a $100 table and pay $10 a month, and you are starting to establish your credit. And keep it up, keep the payments on time, pay more than the minimum, and you'll have good credit, and life will be easier, I promise. And as far as where to start, I would highly recommend that you talk to somebody in your line of business who has something. So for example, if you wanted to be a hairdresser and own your own salon, talk to somebody who owns a salon. So whatever type of business that you are interested in, if you want to start your own business, talk to somebody who's done it. Okay?
Know the area that you're going to do your business in and do your research to see what competition is out there. In the investment field, we talk a lot with individuals, but what we talk about is risk tolerance. What kind of failure are you going to be tolerable with or comfortable with when you go to start your own business. Risk tolerance is key.
And Academy Go, if you want to find out if there's government funding, because there are several government sources of funding to assist new business startups. And Academy Go will have a lot of those answers for you. Academy Go, it's Academy for Grassroots Organizations, and they're in Apple Valley. Vicki Nagel and Debbie Cannon.
I'm not part of the panel, but I can't resist. You are all here, and that shows us that you're investing in yourselves. But I want to add to what they just presented. If you're going to go into business, whether it's for business, for profit, or nonprofit, you need to find a mentor. Find mentors, okay? Network. Find opportunities of where you can go and hang out to learn from people that are in the field, or if you're exploring, to learn about fields that you don't even know about right now. There's lots of opportunities around the Barstow area that provide events and activities that are free of charge that you could come and go and hang out, take your family, have some fun, and learn about what's out there. Read the bulletin boards, read the newspaper, read everything in print. You don't have to believe it all, but you just become aware. So awareness, mentorship, and networking.
One more, we're gonna end with one more question before.
I know that most of you don't work in a nonprofit, but do you think that it's just as good to establish maybe a scholarship fund for those who are in shelters or in nonprofit organizations like for homeless to help them get back on their feet or something like that? Not a scholarship, but maybe some kind of funding to help somebody like that, like a homeless person or something, get back on their feet, or even a veteran?
Okay, so I'm a member of Zonta Club, and there are different agencies as well as Zonta who, that's what we do. We raise money for scholarships, and we give scholarships to women in 3 different fields every year. So that's what I can share with you. And
If Barstow College does not have a course on nonprofit management or on a nonprofit field, and we're giving them some really good ideas today, because most colleges do teach about grant writing, teach about the nonprofit world. So it'd be a real good thing to put out there at the Trade Center, and lots of people be willing and knowledgeable to teach it.
What you will find out as you start getting off on your own, into your own business, maybe raising your own family, working for someone else, you'll start to find out what types of organizations that are out there, millions of them across the United States, that are actually out there meeting needs, where you may have a heart, you might have a burden, you might have a past experience, and that's leading you to also help out in that area. So there's plenty of organizations out there that are already doing that need, what you may have a burden or a heart for, and you'll be able to just jump right in and start helping them. Getting into business for myself, seeing the failures, seeing the successes. I also see all of those nonprofit organizations coming to businesses seeking financial service, seeking help, seeking donations, and then you see the real work at what they do in your community and in our community, and the needs that are being met on a daily basis. It's amazing the big heart that even our small community has and what's going on out there.
Yeah, and any of the situations, like, I think you're passionate about helping people that just need a hand up, not necessarily a handout. If you get with any of the nonprofits that are already in existence, and even if you decide later to become a CEO or founder of a nonprofit, it's a lot of work, But if it's your passion, like you said before, it becomes not work and you put everything into it and are able to do miraculous things. And some would say even miracles.
So let's give the panel a hand clap. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Ms. Denise, for putting on this Creative Innovation Summit. So right now, we're gonna actually let the panel go outside and we're gonna have the networking start. So again, thank you for coming out and for investing in yourself and for hearing all this great information. And so we're gonna have the networking and lunch right now. So thank you again, panel.
Thank you.
That purse is on the other side of yours. That's why.
I've been in.
Sir.
Loud and proud. Thank you so much for sharing.